It's the first time that the Suns have hired a new coach in 4 straight seasons. Maybe not the history you're hoping to make, right? But Jordan Ott making history nonetheless here. And this is an interesting hire on a few levels here. If we start, I guess we'll kind of go over Jordan's resume. Now, it is reportedly a 4-year deal for Jordan Ott to take over at the helm of the Suns organization. And on the surface, when you look here at Jordan Ott, okay, the resume checks out. He was an assistant coach with the Cleveland Cavaliers under Kenny Atkinson for the last year. The Cavaliers had the best record in the Eastern Conference. They got knocked out by the Pacers in the Eastern Conference semifinals, but the Cavaliers were one of, if not at times this year, the best team in the NBA. So, okay, it makes sense. You're poaching an assistant coach from one of the NBA's best teams. Before that, he was an assistant coach with the Lakers. Before that, he was an assistant and assistant coach with the Nets under Steve Nash. Of course, that name rings a bell for Suns fans. An interesting kind of tidbit in this as well, Jordan Ott kind of got his start in the NBA as a video coordinator in Atlanta back in the day under Mike Budenholzer, which, Mike Budenholzer, if it wasn't for him, Jordan Ott wouldn't be in this position, because Mike Budenholzer getting fired is why Jordan Ott now is the head coach of the Suns. We wanted to tap in with our Suns insider, Flex from Jersey, here tonight, and the first thing we wanted to talk to Flex about was just his general thoughts on Jordan Ott taking over here in Phoenix.
A little bit of a surprise. I thought Johnny Bryant was doing a fantastic job throughout the process, and there was just a lot of support for Johnny Bryant. So a little surprised that they went with Jordan Ott. But the things that I liked about Johnny Bryant, the connection to Kenny Atkinson, the roles and the things that he did as an assistant. Jordan Ott did a lot of those things, and he was also connected with Kenny Atkinson. So I have to say my initial reaction was pretty busy yesterday, and was getting a lot of information after the 2 candidates interviewed in Michigan with Matt Ishbia. I would say that at one point in my day, I thought Johnny Bryant would be the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, but in this business, things shift, and so I would say a little shocked that it's Jordan Ott, but not disappointed. Shocked because I thought Johnny Bryant had a very good chance of being the next coach of the Phoenix Suns, but I think Jordan Ott's a good candidate, and at the end of the day, they went with Jordan Ott.
Now, when you look at the process the Suns took to ultimately hire Jordan Ott, it was an extensive process. This was not a quick, kind of knee-jerk decision by this team. They reportedly interviewed over a dozen candidates and started to whittle it down over time. And then, as you heard Flex say there, it kind of became a 2-man race between Johnny Bryant and Jordan Ott here in this last week of the process. And as you heard Flex say as well, both guys meeting with Matt Ishbia in Michigan this week as the final decision was ultimately made. It'll also be, interesting to see what ends up happening with Johnny Bryant. Will he end up staying in Cleveland, or did the move by the Knicks this week, firing Tom Thibodeau, that head coaching opening, did that influence Johnny Bryant at all? Did he maybe look at that and say, well, actually, coaching the New York Knicks may be interesting to me as well? Did that factor into this process? We don't know. What we do know is Jordan Ott is going to be the head coach of the Phoenix Suns. If you're a Suns fan and you are concerned about this hire, I hear you. And what I will say to that is we knew that this was kind of going to be how it was going to go in a sense. And what I mean is we knew the pendulum was going to swing. We had a feeling the pendulum was going to swing from experienced head coaches that the Suns have tried the last couple of years that didn't work to a different, fresher take on this, a first-time head coach, which is exactly what Jordan Ott is. And according to multiple outlets reporting throughout this process, Devin Booker, it sounds like, was involved with this head coaching search, and multiple outlets today reported that Devin Booker gave the kind of quote-unquote, if you will, stamp of approval to Jordan Ott's hiring. And that is significant because we expect a lot of change to continue to happen around this Suns team throughout the course of this offseason. But if Devin Booker likes this hire, then that would also lead you to believe that Devin Booker is still going to be the cornerstone of this franchise, and you want that, for lack of a better word, alignment, if you will, between your star player and the head coach. But more here from Flex from Jersey on who exactly Jordan Ott is and what he will bring to the Phoenix Suns organization.
No one's going to outwork Jordan Ott. I did a lot of research on all these candidates, spoke to a lot of people around the league, and the one thing I can say is that stands out in regards to Jordan Ott is you won't outwork him. This is a guy that will be in the building at 5 a.m. He cut his teeth in this league in the video room, a lot like a guy like Eric Spoelstra. So he's fantastic at video work, the X's and O's. He works hard. He's very innovative in regards to offense and defense. I like Jordan Ott a lot. I think both these candidates were really good. This started out with about 20 candidates at one point. And when you get down to Johnny Bryant and Jordan Ott, they both ended up being on the same team. They're both represented by the same agency, CAA. It was a tough decision, but they went with Jordan Ott. Again, the things that stand out about Jordan Ott: hard worker, really in depth in regards to the analytics and the video part of basketball, and he's going to bring it in regards to innovation on both ends, offense and defense. Jordan Ott has done some really good things, and he's done some really good things in the developmental part too. He seems to connect well with players, based on my understandings. I think Jordan Ott will stand out in regards to those elements.
So we now know the kind of tip of the spear, the head coach of the Suns. What will this roster look like, though? Is Bradley Beal going to be here? Will he not be here? Are they going to trade Kevin Durant for pieces to try to kind of pivot and reload, as we've heard the front office use to coin their phrase here? This is what Flex from Jersey had to say about Kevin Durant's future here in the Suns and where he may potentially end up this offseason.
If I had to rank things based on what I'm hearing and my inside information sources, I would say the Houston Rockets, the New York Knicks, and the San Antonio Spurs are the three teams to pay attention to. When you look at Houston, you got guys like Jabari Smith, you got guys like Reese Shepard, you got guys like Tyrese, and you got all the Phoenix Suns picks, 25, 27, and 29, including this year's number 10 overall pick, in a package that they can put together for Kevin Durant. So that's interesting from Houston's perspective. Then you move on to the Knicks. Are they going to move on from Karl Anthony Towns? Is that a deal that you entertain? A package around Kevin Durant and Karl Anthony Towns? Do you look at a package where you can potentially focus on Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby in the Knick trade to potentially send KD to play with Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson? They're also looking for a new coach. So does that new coach align with what they're potentially going to do if they were to acquire Kevin Durant? Do they look at a coach that has, familiarity with Kevin Durant? And so there's a lot of questions in New York, but New York is a team to keep an eye on. Between Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges, there's an enticing enough package there where a Nick Suns Kevin Durant trade makes a lot of sense. And then the last team is San Antonio. I mean, they've got a plethora of young talent. They got Wemby. They have the second pick in this draft along with the 14th pick in this draft. And so when you look at San Antonio, does a package of the 14th pick in this draft with guys like Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and let's say Jeremy Shohan or Harrison Barnes, right? Do you look at those players and look at a potential package? And then you also think about what the Suns are going to do in the offseason. Are they gonna bring in free agents? Chris Paul's a free agent. He was in Phoenix. If you make that San Antonio deal, does it make sense to potentially get on the phone with Chris Paul and say, well, you're familiar with Devin Booker, you're familiar with the Phoenix Suns. We just got three really young guys from the San Antonio Spurs that you're familiar with. What do you think about coming back here and kind of merging the gap or bridging the gap between the old Phoenix Suns and this new era with a bunch of San Antonio players? So I would say the Houston Rockets, New York Knicks, and San Antonio Spurs are the three teams to keep an eye out on Kevin Durant. I do think the Suns are going to move Kevin Durant. I do think the Suns are going to move Kevin Durant before the NBA draft. It makes sense for all parties involved. The Suns, Kevin Durant, and the team that will be acquiring him. And when you consider the amount of traction or the amount of attention that's going to be placed on this particular NBA draft, with Houston having a 10th pick and San Antonio having the 14th pick, it makes sense to get done before the draft. So that's pretty much what I'm hearing from the Kevin Durant front.
Now, the elephant in the room, if you will, when it comes to Jordan Ott is his connections to Michigan State. Obviously, Matt Ishbia, big Michigan State guy. Brian Gregory, the new general manager of the Suns, connections to Michigan State. Jordan Ott also has connections to Michigan State. This is what Flex from Jersey had to say on those Michigan State ties and how much that ultimately may have swayed Matt Ishbia's decision.
I will say this. You could have bigger problems. And I mean this in a joking way. It's not like we're talking about Appalachian State or Murray State. We're talking about Michigan State. So, institution that is one of the top college basketball universities in the world. who's won national championships, and they got Tom Izzo and a great history. So you can do worse than having people from Michigan State around your organization. So I'll start off by saying I don't think fans should be worried right now. I think there's, reason for people to question some things, but I'm not going to hold it against Jordan Ott that he attended Michigan State University. They went through this process with 20 coaches. They got down to the last two. Both were very good, Jordan Ott and Johnny Bryant. Both came from Cleveland. Both have the same representation. And so I don't know if worried is the right word, but I know people's antennas are up, and that's okay. But if Jordan Ott comes here and does a fantastic job, everyone will forget the whole Michigan State University stuff. So I'm not too concerned. I think the Phoenix Suns potentially landed a very good coach. I think they were very thorough in this process. And I think it's a wait and see approach for me in regards to how they're handling things out in Phoenix. Interested to see how Jordan Ott fits. Interesting to see how things shake out with Kevin Durant and what they're potentially going to do in the summer. And keeping my fingers crossed that they can get this thing fixed pretty quick.
So the last kind of layer to this cake quickly here is this afternoon there was also a leaked internal memo that Matt Ishbia sent out to basketball operations members of the Suns organization that got leaked to members of the media, and it reportedly contained Matt Ishbia saying he plans to be involved more going forward in basketball decisions and whatnot, because Matt said, though obviously we could all agree the last couple of years did not go the way that the Suns had hoped it would. Matt Ishbia said in that reportedly leaked memo that he was more hands-off and tried to be a quote-unquote normal manager of a or owner of a team, and that did not really go the way he wanted it to, so he plans to be more involved going forward. So we'll see how that ultimately all plays out. Of course, the Suns fans hoping on Planet Orange here that Jordan Ott is the guy to help deliver the Suns where they ultimately want to go.